Do you guys remember that when Satan went to tempt Jesus, he said that if you bow down and worship me, I will give you all these things. This is what Hollywood does to these celebrities. If you bow down and you worship the devil, if you bow down and submit to the agenda, then you are given everything. This is why the Bible tells us, what shall it profit a man that he shall gain the whole world and lose his very soul? This is why the Bible also tells us that the love of money is the root of all evil. Because many people have idolized money and has made money their God, that they're willing to do anything and everything to be able to have the wealth of the world. Let me explain to you guys what happens. When these celebrities enter into Hollywood, their handlers, those who are in control of grooming these celebrities, they do witchcraft and they do all sorts of rituals to cause these people to enter into covenants with familiar spirits. This is why you hear Nicki Minaj says that she's asked the spirit to leave Roman. She's asked him to leave and he won't, because he's been conjured up.
It must be nice to have like an ignorant loudmouth who you can just sort of blame every...
He wants to be blamed. I don't want to blame him. I ask him to leave, but he can't. He's here for a reason. People have brought him out. People conjured him up. Now he won't leave.
Can you please bless us with a verse?
Enter Roman. What up?
What up, Roman?
What up? What up?
What is the situation with Roman's revenge? Why? Your man Weezy's on point to me. It's mad out there.
Yo, Roman's revenge is just about taking control. Saying Roman is here to stay. And anybody that ever doubted Roman is going down in a coffin.
Boxed up, kids.
A lot of the times you'll see people talk about alter egos. These are spirits that has been conjured up during witchcraft, which is why you hear Kevin Gates speak about the fact that these spirits serve him, right? What did he say? He's the controller. These spirits, their assignment is to make them wealthy. They summons these spirit and the spirit has to go about making them wealthy. This is why Beyonce says in her videos that when she puts her hands up, something else enters into her. It's a completely different person than who she is. It's actually a demonic spirit that enters into her and takes control over her, that she can do things with this alter ego that she wouldn't be able to do on her own. And
when they meet me and they speak with me, they're expecting Sasha. I'm really kind of shy, and not really shy, but more reserved. Nothing like Sasha. I guess I wouldn't be very entertaining on stage. So Sasha comes out and she's fearless. She can do things that I cannot do when I'm in rehearsal. I mean, I can try, but then it just doesn't happen. I can sing notes and sing strong and do all these things that when I'm just by myself, I can't do. And I remember right before I performed, I raised my hands up, and it was kind of the first time I felt something else come into me, and I knew that was going to be my coming out night for the BET Awards.
This is what happens in Hollywood, is they conjure up these spirits, and these spirits have to do what they conjure them up to do, which is to earn them wealth and fame and money. This is why none of them, and I'm going to teach this in another video, none of them could truly be happy with all the wealth that they have, because the wealth has been given onto them through the wicked. This is why none of them could truly be happy. If you listen to any of these celebrities speak, they're not truly happy because the wealth, they can't even enjoy it, because there's certain rituals and things like that that they have to upkeep in order to keep the wealth. So none of them are truly happy with all the money that they have. They can't even be happy.
Fasted for 60 days. Wore white. Abstained from mirrors. Abstained from sex. Slowly did not speak another word. In that time, my hair I grew past my ankles. I slept on a mat on the floor. I swallowed a sword. I levitated. Went to the basement, confessed my sins and was baptized in a river. Got on my knees and said amen and said I mean. I whipped my own back and asked for dominion at your feet. Threw myself into a volcano. I drank the blood and drank the wine. I sat alone and begged and bent at the waist for God. I crossed myself and thought I saw the devil. I grew thickened skin on my feet. I bathed in bleach and plugged my menses with pages from the holy book, but still inside me, coiled deep, was the need to know. Are you cheating on me? Are you cheating on me?
I sacrifice for this shit, though.
You, I know. I will too.
It's hard. That's a hell of a journey. 42 days, no food. No food. That's a hell of a journey.
I know it is.
Getting small. Felt like I was going crazy after that. Shit just got different. Everybody know what it take. Everybody ain't willing to do what it take.
Hi everyone, this is Cricket Song with Utter Wisdom, and today's video is going to be discussing what is a familiar and how does a witch work with one.
This video is brought to you by the generous donations from viewers like you.
So first of all, I do want to point you in the direction of a video I have discussing familiars, power animals, and totem animals, I think, or animal allies. I'm not sure what I titled it, but I do have a video discussing these animals that witches work with. but I specifically want to take the time to answer these questions. So the first one is, what is a familiar? Well, in a nutshell, in a short definition, a familiar is a spirit or spiritual entity that a witch will work with or is associated with a witch. Now, I personally feel that familiars pick the witch does not pick the familiar, but this is just my belief and my understanding of the situation. Now, it is a familiar spirit. It is a spiritual entity. This is not a physical person. This familiar spirit or familiar entity can manifest in a physical form. And what I mean by that is my cat, Alchemy, he is my familiar. However, his spiritual essence is not associated, well, it is associated with his body, but the spiritual essence within Alchemy is the spiritual reincarnation of a former familiar spirit that I worked with before, which took a physical form of my cat, Bandit. However, it is not necessarily that physical form that I'm working with, but the spiritual entity that is sort of housed within my animal, my Alchemy. Now, why I'm discussing this is because witches can have a familiar that is not necessarily housed within a physical animal or plant. The spirit could be contained within a non-living vessel, like a stone, although some would disagree and say a stone is a living vessel, or perhaps a statuary. So a witch may have a familiar spirit that is sort of contained or haunting a non-physical item. Hopefully that makes sense, okay? So how does the familiar aid a witch was the next question. So a familiar spirit aids the witch in helping with a raising of energies. The witch can ask or request the familiar spirit to do errands in a non-physical realm for the witch. The familiar can do whatever is required or asked or suggested to aid the witch in a non-physical way. So, for example, in the physical realm, I have my athame that I use, my wand, my cauldron, my bell, all these physical, my crystal ball, my cards, all these things are physical tools. The familiar works with the witch in the non-physical realms and is able to aid the witch with their magic, whether it's rituals, whether it's spells, whether it's divination, whatever it is that the witch is doing in the non-physical realm in an energetic sense, the familiar can and will aid the witch. But again, keep in mind that the familiar is a spiritual entity, and if the familiar's goal or agenda is different from the witch, then the familiar may not do the witch's bidding. But it's my experience that I have had a relationship with my familiar that is pretty much aligned, so that our goals are basically the same thing. Now, how can you find, the question was, how can I find my familiar? Again, like I started out this video, I don't feel as if the witch finds their familiar, but the familiar finds the witch. And this is the same sort of relationship or finding that I feel our matron and patron gods and goddesses do. I did not go out and seek my matron or patron. My matron or patron and patron called me into service. So once I, as a witch, put out a request, I am desiring a teacher, I'm desiring a mentor, I'm desiring to work with a god or goddess, I'm desiring to work with a familiar. Once I put that call out, when the time is right, when the situation is ripe for that which I call to manifest, then that is what happens. So I feel like, witches don't go and pick their familiars choose them. And I really feel as if personally it's very much an honor to have a familiar choose me, or a god or goddess choose me, or a teacher or mentor choose me, because I don't know, that's just the way I feel. Hopefully that answers the question that the viewer subscriber submitted to me, and as always, I love you. Mwah.